And you take a deep breath. Hello, it's a day for squatting. I'm old, really old, and it means I've got bad knees. And if you're old and you haven't got bad knees, then you're very, very lucky. Here's some of the things I do to make sure I'm fit for squatting despite having bad knees. And I have some things a little bit wrong, such as a wrist here and my back because of things I've done a little bit wrong with exercising. With the knees, it just gets bad. I used to cycle a lot, up hills a lot, but you're going to get bad knees as you get older. Humans aren't well adapted to living into the second half of a century, and that's why things start to fail. Let's have a look at some exercises I do, and then finally a test I do to make sure I'm in good shape for squatting that day. And if I do that, I know I'll probably squat without any knee pain at all. I've already done my basic warm-up. I do this before every lifting session unless there's some kind of an emergency. I have once or twice just gone out and squatted with a bar to warm up for squatting, similar with bench pressing, but that's not normally what I'll do. And it's not because some people are quite against that, and I say if I'm going to warm up for squatting, I'll squat. Fine, but you're probably younger than me, and everything I do to keep the whole body mobile is pretty good once you get past a certain age. Here's the roughly 15-step program that I do often. It's an old video, but everything's in there. So if you do need some pointers on what to do, or if you just like following a schedule and you want one in front of you, then give it a try. And if you do that, the body will be warm. I've done it in a slightly different order today to just focus on the leg things and do extra leg things as well, which I do theoretically when squatting and when deadlifting. So that's on day 2 and day 5 of my standard schedule. I've already done a couple of minor things. This is exercise 10 on my normal schedule, and you start at the bottom. So you make sure you've got good foot mobility, and once again, I would do this even if I was never going to squat again in my life. When my schedule is going well, I will sometimes do this every day, weight training or not. The best I got was 15 days in a row. You see, I would do it in the morning, then have 10 minutes or so, maybe 15 at the bag and ball outside, and then do it again before exercising in the afternoon. I'm not doing that so much now because trying to exercise twice a day gave me a bit of a problem. Sometimes I'd just be so late and I'd be more likely to skip days. Right, so we'd start with the toes, circling the toes, up and down, circle, and then a nice stretch here for the quadricep, to the back with each one, and to the front. This isn't a very good stretch to increase flexibility. It's a warming up stretch. It will probably help a bit with flexibility, and I'll have a couple of things in that are meant for that. It's hard to beat a good touching shin, toes, floor, and then I like to stay tense when I'm doing this. Obviously, this is good for the back as well, but it also gives you a stretch here. Right down to the calves. Then, because that's quite a stretch, this isn't to do in particular with the knees, but it just keeps everything moving. Now, very simple. Just a forward lunge, and go as far forward as is comfortable. At one point, I didn't have the knees going past the toes, but after doing this, specifically going a little bit further each time, I can now do it without pain. So a year ago, I'd go to about here, and I might do 3, and then say, oh, ow, and carry on going. But that isn't a problem now, and it really is easy to develop in that way. Sometimes people think that you've got to lift heavy and push hard and achieve hypertrophy to get much development, but sometimes doing something quite mild over a long time is also good, and especially if you're trying to work on something very vital like your knees, you don't want to push them too hard, and being gentle might be a good idea. And then we'll go backwards as well, and this is for hamstrings and calves. And then the same again, but I'll keep it pretty short for now. And you can always do a bit of squatting, but I won't, even without the weight, because I start off with the bar in the shed. Let's see, better put this down a bit now. And this is the most important stuff. And what I've got here, you'll find if you look for physiotherapy exercises, if you look, I'm not trying to pretend I'm introducing you to anything special, but it's in one place. And if you don't warm up well and stretch before squatting, it'd be a really good idea to start. Nice and straight. Now, I have some pain around here sometimes. And this is a really, really good massage. And I just realised I should point out one thing. I have exercise mats all over the kitchen. Means if there's a really bad day and I don't have no time, I can do a warm up in here and then just jog on the spot, do some shadow boxing. And it works really well. And it protects the kitchen floor. It's not stuck down to anything. I think you're talking about probably about £30 with today's prices to cover a piece of floor like this. You could do it in other rooms if you wanted. You could put it on top of carpet. And this is really good for a bit of a massage in the lower back. Okay, priming the abdomen as well. Now, you put your arms quite flat, should have your head down, and put your knees down to one side, and then the other. Very good stretch for the back, but also for the legs. Here, really feel it here. And you do more of them normally. Then you loosen up. And this is also warming and working everything, including the abdomen. Then, this isn't a sit-up as such. You want to stay rigid and a bit more rocking. Next, and we're nearly done. Doesn't take all that long. We'll have here, this does affect the upper legs, but it's more for the torso, and it's more a case of while I'm down here, this is what I do in this order. And with this added to the 15-step ordinary warm-up that I do, everything's ready, it's really ready. And finally, what I just do is lean back a bit. It's good to have a surface behind you. You don't have to. If you can put your back on the ground, then you're a little bit more resilient than I am. And you don't want to stretch too hard before you're going to shift weight around. And then just to make sure that I'm staying agile enough and that my knees are functioning, if I was having a bad day, and sometimes I do, sometimes I will squat and one knee or the other, normally only one, hurts a bit on the way down, and I'll squat through that. I've done that a lot of times, much more than that, and I'm not doing it. When that happens, then I'll normally find a week later the pain goes. So clearly doing some squatting with a slight bit of knee pain hasn't done something really destructive. But if I do this without the pain, because it's fairly explosive, then I know that I am not going to have any pain today when I'm squatting, which is nice. And first is just forward and shoot out and back down. And finally, and this is the one that tells me that for my age, I'm doing okay. And you take a deep breath. And I dare say not that many people can do that at the age of 51, which says that something I'm doing is working. And now it's time to squat. And if it's a good day, maybe I can have a PR video a bit later. If not, thanks for watching. My name's Mark. See you next time. Look after your knees. Cheers.